Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is March 21st, 2025. It's been a long week, as many weeks are. They're hitting us with this information overload, flooding the zone, whatever you want to call it. A lot of info coming in as we've been reporting here for you. We got a special guest on the line today. What is Truth podcast host. And so he'll be joining us, Wheezy. And then, of course, we have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy, a regular guest on Fridays. He shall be popping in too, maybe. I don't know. You got to remember, Thomas is in Cambodia, so his time is like all screwed up. I think it's like 7 or 8 in the morning for him there. So anyway, I think he'll be joining us. A lot to get to in the news today. What about yesterday's show? Yesterday was a show, right, about the geoengineering with climate viewer Jim Lee. He threw a lot of cold water on conspiracies. I'm sorry, but I honestly, at this point, I'm still thinking about what all he had to say, but I'm starting to come around to his way of thinking here. Anyway, that was a great show, just information packed. The show yesterday with Jim Lee, climate viewer. I would suggest everybody go take a look at that if you're at all ever thought about this geoengineering phenomenon that seems to be happening. Okay, what do we got today? Crazy stuff today. Judge Roberts, it seems, is in this society. I said Judge's Secret Society. Is it secret? I don't know. It's public. But Bilderberg's public now, too. They have a friggin' website. So secret societies are like coming out of the shadows everywhere. I don't think that Judge Roberts and this one particularly wanted to be get publicity about it, but it now has got publicity. And people are saying, hey, wait a minute. I thought you were a conservative appointed by George Bush. So he had to be conservative, right? But he's hanging out with all these quote liberal judges. Are they really conservative or liberal? I have my doubts. And aren't judges in a secret society in and of itself wearing the black robe? You know what I'm saying? But supposedly now, well, it's being reported here, so we'll report it, that Roberts is in league with all these quote liberal judges. So that I guess explains some of his rulings. We're going to go over the JFK Lincoln coincidences. I think it's a conspiracy by secret societies to do occult rituals. That's what this whole thing's about. And so we're going to go over that. And then, of course, then we got other geopolitical news. Aardvark news, as always. The genocide continues there. They're cranking it up. Just indiscriminate killing everywhere in Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon. Maybe Egypt is going to take some Palestinians. That idea is out there in the Aardvark Post is reporting that. Maybe, I don't know. Do they feel like getting bombed? All of that and more. A little bit about Russia, Ukraine. And yeah, are we going to join the UK Commonwealth? That's being floated. That idea is being floated by King Charles III and Trump. That's very America first, right? Is to go ahead and make it official that we're underneath the US Commonwealth. I guess it's being proposed, or the idea is being floated, associate membership of the United States in the British Commonwealth. Really? Let me get to this day in history. On this day of March 21st, going all the way back to the year 1349, the Black Death riots occurred. Black Death massacre. Between 100 and 3,000 aardvarks were killed in Erfurt, Germany, part of a wave of pogroms across Western Europe. I wonder why. You know what? We keep noticing that people throughout history have had a problem with aardvarks, and it's just an interesting coincidence that we're noticing here. In 1788, fire destroys 856 buildings in New Orleans, Louisiana. Don't forget, as we celebrated the spring equinox yesterday, we're in the season of sacrifice here now until May 1st. A lot of tragic events seem to occur during this time frame, right? As part of potentially dark occultist satanic rituals, blood rituals, and sacrifices in the season of sacrifice. In 1907, U.S. sends troops to Honduras to halt Nicaragua army takeover. Oh, here's one. I missed one. Sorry to go back. It's the end of the world. Don't you know? My preacher told me. Well, they've been end of the world doomsday preachers for a very long time. I don't know how you have any credibility after you make that prediction and it doesn't happen. In 1844, the original date predicted by William Miller of Massachusetts for the return of Jesus Christ and the end of the world. How do you have any credibility after you make this prediction? Follow me, be saved, all this, right? We know the routine. Or you're going to hell, and then you make that prediction and it doesn't happen. It seems like you should get run out of town on a rail as being a heretic. I don't know, but they probably still gave him more money after that. I honestly don't know, but you got to feel like a fool. I don't think anyone knows. Honestly, no man on this earth knows. In 1935, Persia is officially renamed Iran on this day. In 1943, an assassination attempt on Hitler fails. In 1947, Executive Order 9835 was issued by U.S. President Harry Truman, requiring all federal employees to have, quote, complete and unwavering loyalty to the United States. In 1952, 22 tornadoes in Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky caused 343 deaths in 1952. So it was that climate change getting them even back then. In 1963, Alcatraz prison in San Francisco Bay officially closed. In 1965, MLK began his march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. And then just last year, 2024, on this day, Elon Musk's Neuralink company posted a video of a patient playing chess online using a brain implant. So you better get your brain implant or you hate America. And that's where we're at today. Let me make this segue here. And just to show everybody, all the uninformed out there, this is what we're dealing with King Charles III. This is right from their official site, royal.uk, the Great Reset. He launched it. He launched the Great Reset. And then here's a nice little video. I was going to read that. We'll just play the video. This is official from the Crown. And this is our segue to our guest to, hey, are we already secretly underneath the British Commonwealth? Now they're just going to make it public? I don't know.
We have an incredible opportunity to create entirely new sustainable industries, investing in nature as the true engine of our economy.
The current global crisis has disrupted.
What's up with that?
Every aspect of our lives, but it has also presented us with an extraordinary opportunity.
What's up with that? Our video's not playing. That's not good. I had a great intro planned. Let me try to reset it and play that again. Sorry about that. Everything was going smooth until you play the Great Reset from the King of England. Nope, it don't want to load. Anyway, here it is, official reset from their website, royal.uk/clearancehouse/the Great Reset. You can see right here, official post from them. Here's that video that wouldn't load. So with that, we'll bring on our guest. How you doing? What is truth?
Hello, Mr. Sam. How are you?
Doing well on this Friday. We're going to go ahead and bring on Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy as well. Thomas, how you doing this Friday?
All right, good to be here on Weaponized News.
So what do you guys think? The idea is being floated here that King Charles' secret offer, I don't know, they always say secret. It's not secret if it's out there publicly. But anyway, King Charles' secret offer to Trump, U.S. in the Commonwealth, ? King Charles is reportedly set to offer Donald Trump an associate membership of the United States in the British Commonwealth during his visit. This potential offer comes after the UK Labour's leaders Keir Starmer hand-delivered a letter from the King to Trump. Trump has expressed a positive stance toward his proposal. And Trump said, and don't forget, the Great Reset was launched by King Charles. Trump says, "I love King Charles" today on his Truth Social post. Here you go. What do you guys think? Are we already, or if not, should we, here as America, join the British Commonwealth?
We should be slaves again. What an offer. Here, you can be you can be our slaves again. There you go. You should.
What do you think, Weezy? You want to be under the king again?
I don't know if we ever changed the system.
Did we? That's the question, right? Did we?
Well, the first American admitted conspiracy is the Nuremberg conspiracy, which happened shortly after the Revolutionary War. And we are told through the official narrative that the bankers wanted to keep control, but George Washington stepped up to the plate and squashed it down, and a new nation was born. I view that story as pure propaganda, and nothing really changed.
Maybe we're already under it, and they just want to make it official now.
Yeah.
And London banking was massive at the time, and the Rothschilds, from 1750s onward, of course, all the way to 1913, where they finally completely took it all over and made slavery at a distance, income taxation, slavery at a distance. You can't escape it. Federalized, nationalized. They're going to take your wages no matter where you go.
I don't think they ever called off the Great Reset. I think we're still in the Great Reset right now. It seems like MAGA seems to have forgotten all about that, but I think the agenda is still marching forward here.
The only thing that these imperialists showing up and making such an offer, the only thing that should be offered back to them is the end of a musket. Should be the response.
Let's hear from Trump. It's weird that video wouldn't play. They don't want to hear that Great Reset. Here's Trump about Canada again, which is part of the British Commonwealth officially.
Nobody knows that. They have up to 400%. They have a couple of tariffs at 400%. Nobody knows that. Nobody talks about that. And remember, with Canada, we don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything from Canada. And yet it costs us $200 billion a year in subsidy to keep Canada afloat. So when I say they should be a state, I mean that. I really mean that. Because we can't be expected to carry a country that is right next to us on our border. It would be a great state. It would be a cherished state.
So this is like a backhanded way to bring in Canada if we join UK Commonwealth officially.
And Keir's big offer is, hey, we'll let you rejoin and be our slaves again. Since you're trying to take Canada, trying to take Greenland, hey, we'll let you be our slaves all over again. How wonderful, right? Under the Dominion crime machines, which are, and Smartmatic, right? Both of them. Of course, Smartmatic runs the Dominion crime machine software inside of it by law. And this is all run, both of them run by the Privy Council, effectively, Bill Gates and George Soros's organization, which was handed over to the Lord of Lies, Malik Brown, and he's expanding the Smartmatic network across the Bible Belt states with Bill Gates with his servers and all of their massive scandals behind it. And
the audience is excited over there on Rumble. Karen says, "Yeah, get that Club of Rome map going. We can't wait." Oh man! So
how about they send DOGE over to the Royal Palace and the House of Lords to do some auditing? That's what probably should be done, right? Trump should make that part of the arrangement. That should be his response. Hey, we'll consider it. But first, we require DOGE to go and do a pre-investigative audit of your books.
It's all part of the 5G secret plan that we just don't, we're not privy to.
If he said that, that would be awesome. People around the world would go absolutely freaking crazy. The British would be in the streets cheering with a beer, mad over Trump.
What about taxes? Okay, continuing. So that's out there. They're floating these ideas. I think we're probably already under it secretly. They're just rolling it out publicly now. Letnick's Social Security remarks spark controversy. They're allegedly, I know my mother actually, she has to go down to Social Security now. She has a weird deal though, because like she was in the teachers union and they didn't never get their, here in California, and they never got their first full Social Security because they made some deal with the union that they would pay more into their pension like this, but they cut off her Social Security. She wasn't getting much, even though she paid into it. And now she has to go down to the Social Security office to find out what's going on with it. And so Social Security now is in a uproar. There's reports that it may just be shut down. What do you guys think about Social Security? Are you happy paying Social Security out of your paychecks there? Are we getting it? We're young enough to for it to collapse before we're old enough to even collect.
Yeah, just we're getting extorted. Just keep chipping away at our paychecks, and again, I mean, going back to the revolutionary times, I mean, what was the point of that whole war? The whole taxation is theft and whatnot, and we fast forward to today. I wonder what the founding fathers would think of, you know, the way things are running today with all the taxes we pay for this and that, and what do we get in return? Oh, well, you're paying into you know, for
you're helping the children. It's for the children, yeah. Don't you know?
It's all a sham.
They're gonna kill grandma talking like that.
I saw a report that all those people that they took out during their public health intervention, it just so happens that boosted Social Security funding because they didn't have to pay that out. I think that was all part of the plan the whole time, but that's a show for a different day. IRS modernization lag and tax reform talk. DOGE has highlighted severe issues with the IRS modernization project, which is reportedly 30 years behind schedule and $15 billion over budget. Efforts are underway to address this inefficiency, including scrutinizing federal IT contracts and incentivizing prolonged project durations. Simultaneously, discussions about potentially abolishing income taxes for those earning under $150,000 annually are gaining traction. Should the individual income tax be abolished? What do you guys think?
It should be for low income.
Well, $150,000 annually is low income now with all the
Yeah,
inflation that they've
for those-
created.
right, and for small businesses and whatnot. And you notice that almost all of these government incentives for business are quote unquote tax credits. I mean, what a joke! What a joke that entire. I mean, all of that is just over cost, over complication. They should just eliminate all of that. If you're not going to give the business money, cash, a check that they can use to actually buy equipment and build the business, to expand the actual business, and you're just going to give them a tax credit later, they're not going to pay the tax anyway. They're not paying tax. If there was a tax bill, they would just invest all of the remaining money, all the remaining income back into the business, buy more equipment, buy everything else that they're going to need for next year before December 31st comes along, and there'll be no tax bill. And that's the fiduciary responsibility of every business person, is to do that, to not lose that money, and it'll be gone forever into taxation. So you have these idiots then saying, oh, the company didn't make any income. Look, Tesla Motors hasn't been profitable for 25 years. Because they have a fiduciary responsibility to not be profitable for 25 years. They can't. It's reckless and irresponsible to lose that tax money. But then the government's only going to give you tax credits, and then the Democrats say, oh, we're going to roll out these amazing tax credits for business. Look, we're pro business. And no business is ever going to see $1 from that. There's no benefit from that. So all of this tax credit bullshit, they need to delete all of that completely. It's just all administrative paperwork garbage, and there's no real benefit to the business at all. Eliminate all of that.
Should we abolish individual income taxes?
I don't believe that people like Bill Gates and all these massive global Nazi totalitarian billionaires, all of these corrupt George Soroses and so on, Tom Steyers and all of these, right, Nancy Pelosi's and these people, those people should not get a tax break.
You could just say the oligarchy.
Yeah, I don't understand why conservative. Of course, all of the media is those people, so they're trying to get the conservatives to do away with the taxation on them. So they're brainwashing them to say these things like taxation is theft. It is from the poor people who don't have the opportunity, who don't have the riches, who don't have the financial opportunity and the advice and all of the money that these rich oligarchy have. But how are you ever going to rebalance those ill-gotten gains of this oligarchy back down to use that for society? How are you ever going to rebalance that without taxation? There is no other way. They're not showing up at these people's doorsteps to civil forfeiture, civil asset forfeiture of their property, which is what should really happen, is civil asset forfeiture. They're not doing that. So taxation is the only weapon you have against that. And so they sucker everybody into, oh, well, it's theft. No, what Bill Gates is doing is theft. What them doing by closing your small business, lying that it's non-essential, that is theft. The criminal vandalism of all of us on platforms like X, that is theft. And on YouTube and on all of these other platforms, LinkedIn, when they vandalize us, it said that's theft. How are you?
Okay, give Weezy a chance. Give Weezy a chance. What do you think, Weezy? Should we abolish the individual income tax?
I get what what's your name again, sir? I'm sorry.
It's Thomas of Alpha.
Thomas, yeah, I get what Thomas is saying, and I feel it. I guess my view on government, in a nutshell, is I don't believe in government. It's like Larkin Rose put it, it's the greatest superstition. We're indoctrinated since kids that without government everything would go to hell in a handbasket, like so many other things. And I don't buy it. It's the government that sends our kids into these needless wars, gets meddling here and there, and then people cry about all this mass immigration from here and there. Well, maybe that would stop if we wouldn't be meddling in other places. And so it's government that is constantly screwing us around. And so this, on paper, it sounds great. Yeah, we need taxes to stop all this. But the problem is we're run by these psychopaths. And unfortunately, this is the way I view it. Anytime I don't see a fix. We just need to abolish government. That's the way I look at it. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds unrealistic, but it is government that is the cause of all of our pains and anguish. Uh, we get propagandized. We get indoctrinated with all this nonsense. All of history is a lie. Everything we've been taught to believe is a complete lie. So that's where the root of the problem is. It's just government. And we have to learn to live amongst ourselves. We have to wake each other up and live within the system. But as far as a fix, voting people in and out, I don't believe in any of that.
But who am I going to call? Who am I going to call if I want to SWAT you if I don't have a government?
Who are you going to call if you want to SWAT me? and that's another funny take. All these swatting instances with these quote unquote right wing influencers, I'm not buying it.
Not buying it. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I think
they
maybe
also
it may sound like radical views, but
they also allegedly swatted a children's hospital and a school that I saw recently. I don't know if that was part of the same thing or what. Why don't you buy it? You think they're calling the SWAT on themselves?
There's a big move, and what we're seeing too is this constant talking about anti-Semitism, this anti-Semitism, that, and right now on all these platforms, there's a free reign, and there's a lot of people taking advantage that it's
getting out of control with the hate on the aardvarks, and they don't ever look at who's the puppet master, which is actually the UK intelligence, but that's a deep rabbit hole to go down.
It's a play for that, to help push these quote unquote anti-Semitism laws, which are, and if you're listening closely and reading between the lines, where any criticism, legitimate criticism against the ideology of Zionism is now conflated with anti-Semitism. And the line is getting blurred on purpose. It's a play that's getting doled out, and it's all designed. And that's why maybe this is why I have a cynical view on many of these things. I don't believe a lot of these things that are getting thrown out. What we see on the news, on the TV, we're being shown through the Mockingbird media. Why are we being shown these things? There's a play behind it. Why? A lot of these things that happen every day. But why is the focus always on certain particular things? That's the narrative that is being pushed down our throats through the media, and even through these quote unquote alternative independent voices. I've been calling it along with my buddy Steve from AM Wake Up the new Laurel Canyon 2.0. This new alternative media and voices, it's the same nonsense being pushed, and this is why everything is getting muddier and cloudier, because you don't know what the hell is the damn truth. You're getting told this is happening and that is happening, and so many things are happening all at once. It's hard to keep track of it, but I think that's all by design. Again, you just keep flooding the airwaves with constant BS and nonsense, things that keep us divided, the left and the right, the liberals and the MAGAs and all this nonsense. And I think the right mind space is just to stay out of it, stay out of the extremes, and quit buying into it. Think for yourselves, find like-minded folk. And so when stuff does eventually hit the fan, you have that close-knit community. And it's not just building a community online with people from all parts of the world. That's great, but it has to start local with your own neighbors. Visiting your local butchers, your gardening your own things, because a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, the way I look at it, is too far gone for any real change. So we're talking about it all started with taxing. Should we abolish taxing? I think we're way past beyond that point. And I'm sorry about that long-winded rant, but that's the way I look at it, I suppose.
All right, thank you for that.
Black pills.
Now we're gonna give you optimism for the future here, because is going to save us. Now the stories come out. What do you guys make of this? Are judges just in general already in a secret society? There's some kind of occult thing going on with the black robes. But now the Gateway Pundits reporting Chief Justice Roberts caught an elitist club of judges and lawyers that includes all these liberal judges. And so this is the whole left-right thing that we're supposed to believe that there's some difference. But he's in this with all these judges that are making these rulings against Trump's executive order. It's this club right here, America Innes of Court. They have a website, so it's not that secret. But I guess he's not supposed to be part of it because he's allegedly a conservative. Something like this is the narrative that they're pushing. What do you guys think? Are they already all in a secret society wearing those black robes?
Yeah, it's these secret societies, Masonic influences go back centuries, and it hasn't changed. I'm sorry, Thomas.
And there was the picture, of course, who looks exactly like John Roberts on Epstein Island with Bill Clinton in the pool, right? And
Yeah.
of course, the mainstream fraud news media just comes out and lies baselessly. Oh, that's not him. That's not him. It doesn't say who it is. That's always how they do it. They don't say who it is. They don't say, any methods that they use to find out if it's somebody else. They have no evidence at all. They just lie that it's not him. Just like they lied, there's no such thing as the Hunter Biden laptop. And like ChatGPT right now is lying. There was no evidence of any crimes at all on Hunter Biden's laptop. That's what they're lying right now. Scam Altman is criminally covering this up. But here you go to this website, and there's 459 felonies. You can see all the videos. You can see all of the child pornography that Hunter Biden produced on there. It's all.
I believe AI, Thomas. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I
okay.
forgot. AI is our new god. I forgot what am I talking about.
AI is always right, and there's never been such a thing as a Hunter Biden crime. Okay, yeah. So that's out there. So your good conservative Justice Roberts, appointed by Bush, is meeting up with all these liberals, and so that's what they're saying is the reason you're getting the court rulings that you're getting. The government will solve the crisis it helped create. I'm sure of it.
And don't forget when John Roberts was in the 2020 selection, when they wanted to actually do any kind of review of the electors, John Roberts was screaming at the top of his lungs at the new justices that were just put in there, threatening people in there. And there were people working in the Supreme Court, like these, the clerks and whatnot, were reporting that to the media, that he was completely off his shit, screaming at the top of his lungs like an absolute sociopath, just like you're going to start murdering people or something.
He just cares about democracy, Thomas.
Yeah, right. So this guy, he's been suspected of all kinds of corruption for an incredibly long period of time. This is just yet another of the endless John Roberts corruption saga. And but hey, whenever do the judges ever get caught? It's pretty rare when they do, but sometimes they do. And it'll be a good day when it finally comes around John Roberts' side of the table.
We had that story, I think it was this week, a judge in, if I remember correctly, Utah, covering up for the fire chief that they caught with a bunch of kitty abuse. Yeah, a bunch of kitty abuse videos. And turns out they arrested the fire chief, and the judge let the fire chief out. Turns out they were in on this whole kid abuse ring. So yeah, there you go.
There was another judge that got caught, and so he killed the what was it, the lawyer or the district attorney or whatnot. There was another one just a few months back.
Okay, on to the conspiracy part. Let's see. I found this post from the Duke Report on their Substack. The star within the circle, how a 3,000-year-old oligarchy maintains control through secret roundtable groups. Let me put that up on the he made a good graphic here. Peter Duke at the Duke Report. Money, ideology, compromise, ego, family, and you can see here a great graphic there illustrating it. And here he says the control factors are compromise, ego, family, and reward. And so I think he's probably pretty right on the money here. Of course, the Pentagon, right? That's the star in the circle right there. We could see the Department of Defense, and then of course you have the Freemasons laying out that same symbology. The Surfort or org chart, and it seems to be, and of course the Godamindi's there in the pentagram, upside down star, and our friends at the Central Intelligence Agency, and you could see all these different. He laid it out pretty good in this article. What do you guys think? Is that a thing that they're running things through secret roundtable groups?
Yeah, it's something that's been going on for a long time now. I've been going down the Lincoln assassination pretty deep, and when you really dig into that, you see Freemasonry everywhere on both sides. There were even instances at times, if it was a little Civil War skirmish, if they flashed the correct hand signs, ceasefire would ensue. So yeah, it's nothing new under the sun, and it's still pervasive today.
What do you think, Thomas, of roundtable groups running the world?
Well, the Council on Foreign Relations has been obviously headed up by all of these words I can't even say on YouTube, and groups I can't even say on YouTube, and religions I can't even say on YouTube.
The good guys, the
aardvarks. Henry Kissinger was running for a considerable period of time, and then ended up in the Pentagon, running the Pentagon and running the Memorandum 200 project for depopulation, using miracles around the world aimed at 85 to 200 lesser developing non-Jewish countries. And all of the liberals were exposing this all over the media, even Democracy Now!, which is a famous channel on YouTube. They were exposing it. It was all over C-SPAN endlessly, the left-wing reporters reporting against this, calling it right-wing supremacy and all of these kind of things. But now they're completely quiet and they're all hush-hush about it. They know what's going on and they love it. They can't get enough of it, demanding it, mandating it on all the kids. So, and then what did Trump do? Trump literally filled his first administration with all of the Council on Foreign Relations people, which is just like 2 blocks away from the White House. And now he's done it again. You got all the right to the Wall Street money launderers in there. All of the Panama Papers people, that their organizations are too big and too secretive for the Panama Papers people to even have the balls to go after, like Howard Lutnick's 800 shell companies, for Christ's sake. So, these guys are running the show. The Fed, all of the money being sent to finance all of these aardvark oligarchs, and they get access to the federal discount windows where nobody else does. We certainly don't. The people making under $150,000 a year
just start your own bank, Thomas. Just start your own bank.
Discount window. Yeah, exactly. That's what they'll say too. That's exactly what they'll say.
I think that they are running the world through the dark occult secret societies are running the world through these roundtable groups very professionally, men in business suits, and like you say, above reproach. And if you don't like it, just start your own bank, man. I'm sure it'll be fine. Continuing here. Weezy, are you in California?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida.
Originally from California, but I'm in Florida right now.
For some reason, I thought you were in California, but this does still pertain to you because I think it's offensive. Let's watch old Gavin Newsom here. I don't know if you know, if you follow Gavin Newsom, he's an info warrior now. He has his own podcast.
Yeah.
He directly replies to people, debunking them on X, and so he's a hardcore info warrior, taking time out of his busy dealings running the state of California into the ground. Let's go to a clip now here. Even CNN is being critical of Gavin Newsom as he makes a shift to the center to, I think he's going to run for a 2028 Democrat president. But this is very offensive to everybody, I think. But what do I know? Let's play this clip from Gavin Newsom and get your guys' reaction, take on this, because it's got CNN offended.
So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No
come?
more Latinx,
like,
everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him, right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip talking about Latinx in the first place. But let's take Latinx. We did find somebody who used it repeatedly in his office. Let's take a listen to this.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not
even... That's hilarious because I'm Latino and I've never met any.
You go around, what's up, Latinx? What's up?
No one uses that damn word. This is a word coined by white liberals, wokesters. And, you know, Spanish is just the masculine language. You know, you add O's when it's male most of the time. You add A's when it's a female thing. So this trash of trying to make things gender fluid, if you will, it's a ridiculous push. But that's hilarious that Mr. Newsom is trying to cater over to the conservative base, just like Musk did, just like even Zuckerberg after the fight nonsense. Zuckerberg all of a sudden became a right-wing champion. You're seeing this push, and it's funny how CNN didn't like that, so they dug up some clips of him and exposing him. Yeah, it's a funny subject, and anytime I see some wokesters getting up on arms on the whole Latinx issue, I'm like, that's not a real term. It's fantasy. No one in the Latino community ever uses that term, so get out of here with that nonsense.
Okay,
what's the X about? I want to know what the X is even about.
The gender fluidity.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, most of the time if you add an O, it's a male thing. If you add an A, it's a female thing. By putting the X, it's genderless, apparently.
So they want to brainwash all of the Latin American community that they are supposedly trans and they're part of the trans movement. I got it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work in Spanish. That's their problem.
No one, yeah, you can't use it. It's useless.
Okay, on to the Lincoln. Well, let's play this clip from Trump. They asked him today, can you just tell us who killed Kennedy? Let's watch this clip today from Trump at the White House. And the reporter asked him, can you just tell us at the very beginning here?
Can you just tell us who killed Kennedy?
Well, I was given the task of releasing that because many presidents have gone through it and they haven't released. And I said, release. We even released Social Security numbers. I didn't want anything deleted. They said, so what about Social Security? People long gone, but they're long gone, so I can't imagine. But I said, if you don't delete it, if you do delete it, we have people are going to say, why did you delete it? There's something in there. So we gave Social Security, we gave everything. And the rest is for you to look at, Peter. You're going to see whether or not you see anything. But we've given it. We're doing it with Dr. Martin Luther King too. They're preparing all of that. They're going to release everything, and whoever else they want. I mean, you know, we have nothing. We really have nothing to hide. We shouldn't have. You know, when a lot of time goes by, but with the Kennedy files in particular, they were going crazy on them. I don't think there's anything that's earth-shattering, but you'll have to make that determination. In those, you know, it's 80,000. It's actually 88,000, and we have some additional things, as you know, come out today. And for that, you can go to the offices and you can see whatever you want to see. Everything is out there, totally open. The additional stuff is available later on today. You go over to the offices and you can have it immediately, and you'll make a determination.
What a crock.
What did we get out of that? Okay, so people are jumping up and down. It said aardvarks in there, but I was like, don't we know all these intelligence agencies, the CIA, the aardvarks, the UK, all the West, they all work together. The Five Eyes, we've been knowing this for a long time. Ever since they've been established, they've been working together. So these are not some big revelations. What do you guys think? Do you have any revelations, Wheezy, out of the latest JFK dump?
Well, the JFK dump, quote unquote, was very similar to the Epstein dump, quote unquote. You know, we were promised a truckload of Epstein files. I don't know where the hell the truck is. Maybe the GPS got messed up on it. It still hasn't showed up. But it's just more nonsense. You know, the JFK is to distract you from the Epstein files that never came. You know.
Well, they promised everything. They said JFK, RFK, MLK, Epstein, who bombed just basically every conspiracy that you ever thought about government wrongdoing. They're going to go ahead and declassify, they said.
Supposedly. The thing is, even with the Epstein files that were released to right-wing social media influencers with names like DC Drano and goofy things, you know, along those lines, though they released information that was already out in the public sphere with more added redactions. So it's hilarious because here we have Pam Bondi, the AG, who pretty much swept the Trump University scandal under the rug out here in Florida, received a $25,000 donation to her campaign, and then a few years later, she's voila, AG, and she's the one in charge of releasing the Epstein docs. I knew it was going to be a nothing burger, and same thing with these JFK files. All the good stuff, in my opinion, was burnt and destroyed long ago. Now, my good friend, my real good friend, Corey Hughes, he's excited about some of the document dumps because he feels that when they do a lot of these redactions and you know or try to cover up some of the stuff, they're trying to make sure to cover the tracks for the bigger stuff. But a lot of these people that work on these things aren't very familiar with the case, so he's hoping to sift through them and look for tiny little minute details that would go over the head of, you know, the average person that doesn't know much about the case. And so he thinks he'll be able to pick up a couple nuggets here and there, but in reality, it's more nothing burgers. Whenever they decide to release the MLK files or RFK files, even, it's going to be nothing but nothing burgers. It's just this. It's hopium. In other words, it's people have been duped. The people that fell for the whole Trump train, the MAGA crowd, that Trump was here to drain the swamp. He was going to turn everything upside down. He's doing what he told us he was going to do. He's releasing these classified docs, and it's more nothing burger. But some people are going to fall for it. We're like, look, he's actually doing something. But unfortunately, the masses will fall for it every single time.
Promises made, promises kept. Okay, on to the old, let me run through this list of the coincidences here between Lincoln and Kennedy. It's quite striking.
Yeah.
Lincoln served from 1861 to 1865. Kennedy served from 1961 to 1963. Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. Kennedy, JFK, John F. Kennedy,
1946.
was elected in 1946 to Congress. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. JFK was elected president in 1960. The names of Lincoln and Kennedy each contain 7 letters. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln.
That one is inaccurate.
Is that one inaccurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other ones are good though.
Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were seceded.
That's inaccurate too, because Wilkes Booth was from Maryland, so technically he was not a Southerner.
Okay. Both were succeeded by Southerners.
Yep.
Both successors were named Johnson.
Yep.
Andrew Johnson was born in 1808, and Lyndon Johnson was born in 1908. Assassin John Wilkes Booth was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, alleged assassin,
38.
was born in 1938. Both assassins were known by their 3 names. Both names were composed of 15 letters. Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln.
Ford in a Ford Lincoln.
In a Ford Lincoln.
Yeah.
Both ran from the theater that was caught in a warehouse.
That one's inaccurate too, because Wilkes Booth was in a barn, not necessarily a warehouse.
Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials.
Yeah.
Lincoln issued, and Kennedy, it is claimed, was about to issue greenbacks or government debt-free money.
Here's some more. So Lincoln was carried across the street from Ford's Theater to the Peterson House, PH. Kennedy was pronounced dead at Parkland Hospital, PH. So, and then both of the assassins, or alleged assassins, if you want to call them that, were killed by folks that were deemed crazy. In the case of John F. Kennedy, it was Jack Rubenstein, also known as Jack Ruby. He was labeled as, crazy and whatnot. And John Wilkes Booth, the man credited to have killed him, is Boston Corbett. Boston Corbett was a religious nut, if you will, who self-castrated himself to avoid temptation. And so, yeah, there's so many coincidences. And when you have something like this where the coincidences are so many, at what point do you say, okay, one coincidence, I can go with that. 2 coincidences, yeah, that's a little weird. But when you have so many of these and we can keep going and going with them, there's something else more at play. And that's where I'm of that mindset. I don't know if you can say it on these platforms, but the
Jack Rubenstein, like Jeffrey Epstein, like Eric Weinstein, right?
Aardvark material
everywhere.
It's all just a coincidence.
Yeah. And they deliberately hid his last name, called him Jack Ruby, so you can't find out. And right, he said
he was a great patriot that was so upset by the assassination that he just had to take justice into his own hands and take out the patsy, as Lee Harvey Oswald told us on video before he died.
And he said, "I did it for my people. I did it for my people." Whose people? Whose people? Right, the Aardvarks, obviously. That's who he's talking about, right? Trumpstein, yeah, Trumpstein is a good one there, Barry. I think that's accurate.
Trump.
He's trying to placate.
And even in the Wilkes Booth, we're told that he, and that's, here's more similarities in, both of these assassinations took place in front of large audiences. Obviously, there was no TV in Lincoln, in the Lincoln days, but it was in a jam-packed theater, and in Kennedy's case, it was on the Zapruder film for the world to see. And
now there's quite a crowd for his, parade there through Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, and these were done for the spectacle of it, just like the events at 9/11. You need that effect.
Shock and awe.
Yep, exactly.
So it looks like secret societies are carrying out some type of ritual with these assassinations.
Absolutely.
So there's a number of people saying that the supposed shooting was fake. I'm not so sure about that. It looked pretty real.
What was fake? Who's shooting
the Trump assassination?
Yeah, there's a good number of people that are saying it's fake. That otherwise,
I'm one of those.
You think it's fake? What do you think? What do you think it's fake?
So, when I was doing a show on Operation Mockingbird with Barry Jones, and he got the news while we were recording. So obviously after the show, I was like, wow, that sounds serious. Someone tried to kill the president. Let's see the footage. When I saw the footage, as soon as I saw it, none of the behavior seemed natural. Absolutely none of it. So I watched it over and over and over and over again. Started looking at the crowd, looking at everything. None of it came added up. And then Trump, at the RNC, when he's wearing his little My Pillow on his ear, said that his hand
in solidarity, I wore an ear bandage for 2 weeks.
There you go. But he claimed at the RNC that his hand was covered in blood. He then went on Joe Rogan podcast saying his hand was covered in blood. If anyone thinks I'm wrong, go back, look at the footage. When he puts up his hand, he doesn't have a single drop on his hand at all. So that's a huge, huge lie.
He was in shock.
Some people will say,
he was in shock. That's why.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all. And why they would fake it, people have a hard time accepting that. Why would they fake it? Well, they faked the moon landings. They faked the Gulf of Tonkin. We were fed some lies about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. These things are faked all the time. So I don't understand why people would, and it's nothing against you, Thomas. I'm just saying, like, when people view me as crazy, as a fringe thinker, I'm like, no, this was a staged event. And the way you saw a lot of these social media figures, like a Mark Zuckerberg that was anti-Trump, but after the assassination attempt, man, he was a badass. And all these technocrats all of a sudden jumped on his side.
Now it's okay to come back on Trump train.
Exactly. So it was a staged event. No question in my mind.
We're completely open-minded here on Weaponized News. We question absolutely everything all the time. And certainly,
it's also
they have lied about everything. And
suspicious is the photographer too. That guy that got the iconic shot,
Doug Mills, Sam Cheney. Let me touch on that before I forget. The photographer, there's so many similarities with the Lincoln assassination and with the fake Trump assassination. So in the Lincoln assassination, you had photographer Alexander Gardner, who photographed Lincoln's death plate. He also photographed the co-conspirators. He also photographed John Wilkes Booth's death plate. What are the odds this guy photographed all these guys? Douglas Mills also photographed George Bush getting the news in Sarasota, Florida about 9/11. And then he caught the magic bullet.
You got to think back in 1840, whenever it was. When what was the date? 1846?
No,
45?
1865.
It was a hell of a lot harder then to develop a photograph than it is now. So you couldn't just be snapping 1,000 images like if you had a digital camera like today.
Yeah. Well, in another Lincoln and Trump assassination similarity is Lincoln was sitting at Ford's Theater. His left ear was next to the wall. Okay. John Wilkes Booth was a right-hander holding a single-shot Derringer. to make that shot, and the death shot for Lincoln came behind the left ear and lodged under his right eye. Okay. Historians, in order to make the story fit, say that Lincoln turned his head at just the wrong moment, and that's what got him killed. What do we hear about Trump? Trump turned his head at just the right moment, and that's what saved him. So that loser Lincoln, he should have turned his head at the right moment.
Well,
and he would have survived.
Trump says it was an act of God, and so it must have been an act of God's pro-slavery, and so that's why he allowed Lincoln to be assassinated. No, following that. Okay, let's take our live commercial break. Go ahead, Wheezy, plug first.
You can find me on your favorite podcast player, What is Truth podcast. If you want videos formats, videos are on Spotify. They are also on Odyssey and Rumble, and those are my only video platforms at the moment. So I would love to catch you guys there. I do live shows Saturdays, usually about 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and would love to see y'all there.
Thomas, go. Plug.
You're mute, I think.
Oh, good. You can pull up my slide there. Yeah, Thomas of Alpha Omega Energy. We're working on putting our breakthrough energy technology startup onto the blockchain and on Binance, on a Binance token here shortly. We're working on that daily. And we've decided to make the finance loan actually on the token. So we're adjusting it. And we're going to pay a 300% finance fee to those who finance us as part of the pre-sale for that. So I encourage everybody to get in touch with me, and we're sponsoring Weaponized News, and we're going to sponsor Weaponized News even more out of this. So get in touch with me at my contacts, which Sam will post here. X at AOE VC Breakthrough, though X has just suspended me again, interestingly, and on the fake free speech. Freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. And you can also reach me on Telegram at AOE Black Swan, or at AOE Coin Channel, or at AOE Coin Chat, which is our Telegram group and chat. And looking forward to putting the world's #1 breakthrough energy on the blockchain as the leftists are burning all the fake electric cars, the battery cars. And we're watching again, right, the historical, how they deliberately repeat history. History doesn't repeat itself. It's deliberately repeated, orchestrated by these right secret societies and oligarchs. And the Rockefellers, who propped up Musk, they burned down and destroyed the electric car industry already 3 times before. They did it when they financed and propped up Henry Ford. And they burned all the factories of all the electric car companies, so that they can run the lack and scarcity, commoditization, rent-seeking, and have Henry Ford run these cars where they would be purchasing Rockefeller's oil to run them, right? They didn't want the electric cars. And back then, they were very close to doing
you got into the show again. You got to just give me the commercial break here. Here's Wheezy's link tree. Here's his link tree, so you can see down there in the bottom for X. So there's all the different channels to go follow Wheezy on. And then Weaponized News live plug. Go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers over there. We have the donation button on the website, weaponizednews.com. Give us a subscription on the YouTube if you're following on the other channels, as we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube. Segue back to Wheezy. We just got banned off of Rumble, or Rockfin. We're still on Rumble somehow, speaking in code there. So I had 3,000. I had over 3,000 followers, subscribers, or whatever you call them, on the old Rockfin there. And they did let me say what I wanted to say during the medical intervention period. But then turns out I wasn't using the platform correctly with no forewarning from them. I did have a few premium videos, but most of the shows I said they were for free. I pushed the little free button, but we both got purged off of there. What do you think? It was dirty dealings. I thought I emailed them 3 times, could you guys tell me what's up? And I had, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks in the crypto bank there from donations. They just took it all. And my content's still up there, so they can still make money off of my content, but now I don't have access to my account anymore. What say you, Wheezy, about the rug pull over there on the Rockfin?
I thought it was extremely classless and dirty because we got no warning and we weren't given an option to just delete our channel. When you try to delete your channel, it says email them. I've emailed them 5 times. Kindly remove my channel, please, because when people go to our channels, we can't post any new videos, but the subscribe, or I'm sorry, the tip button is still active. So let's say someone watches a video and they really like it and they want to throw you a tip, we aren't going to see any bit of it. And so it's very troubling. And you know, I had about 4,000 alleged subscribers. I was never really convinced that their subscriber numbers were 100% accurate. But
yeah, I don't trust the
nonetheless,
data of any of these platforms. But yeah, allegedly that's what they said, right?
yeah. But I mean, the live numbers were getting bigger and bigger. People were following me there quite a bit, and that's the thing. I was promoting it. You know, I'm on Rockfin. Now I feel like a fool. I should have never done that. I do have a channel on Odyssey that I've had for many years, and if I get taken down anywhere, that's probably my last stand. You know, that's they've been committed to actual free speech. Some people have complained about getting taken down, but they had some serious copyright infringements. And so you can't blame, you know, a platform. They don't want to get sued if people, you know, users are violating the copyright, DMCA claims. So, but Odyssey has been great. The only issue is that sometimes it can get clunky. Sometimes video playback isn't great, and things along those lines. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really see any other platforms that are really that good. Rumble right now is giving us free reign, but I think it's going to be a Republican or quote unquote conservative version of YouTube at some point, where they're going to throw the hammer down and shut everything down just like YouTube did, you know? So I don't have too much faith in Rumble personally.
Well, at least Rumble's got these commercials where they have their Rumble mascot choking out and pissing on the YouTube logo. I mean, that's certainly promising.
Yeah.
Thomas, you got suspended on X? Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, X suspended me for no reason, said that they're going to put a flag on
no reason. You're being mean to aardvarks. I see what you post over there. You can't be mean to aardvarks.
I certainly triggered a number of people in the last 24 hours. The transes came after me big time because I said, death penalty for Barry Soetoro and Michael Levon Robinson. Whatever happened to Michael? Where's Michael? Right?
They have a podcast now. She's also she, he, they, them. It is an info warrior getting into the whole game like we are here. Newsom and Michelle Obama both have podcasts now. They are respected members of the media.
Yeah, I don't know if my account is working or not for DMs. I'm not sure. People can try to DM me, but it just says a big 0 where the people I'm following, it says 0. So now I'm not following anyone. They erased all of my followers. I don't know if they'll ever put that back or if I got to go refollow everybody or what. I was following maybe 4,500 accounts or something like that, and I have about that many followers following me. So they're just suppressing my account again, some new way to suppress it. And I was exposing in the last 24 hours this massive cover-up since the JFK files came out. You see all of these pro-Zionist accounts pumping this massive Giza fraud, this Giza underground city fraud. I'm sure everybody's seeing that. And this is a completely discredited internet scam from 2022. And now they've all come out conveniently, all of the right, your Mario Knopfel and all of your line of pro-Zionist accounts came out with this all at the same time in a massive distraction operation, very clearly. And Alex Jones and Mike Adams. Mike Adams is the #1 poster of this, the biggest fear porn hardcore guy in all of COVID. The #1 fear porn guy that was out there in the counter media was Mike Adams, and he was so hardcore about it that Alex Jones had to stop him from being on the network because everybody was complaining about it. And here he is again pushing this massive scam. What the hell is this? And this Jay Anderson guy who rigged up these fake videos, apparently, so he says, of these. You can throw that on the screen there, Sam. I want everybody to see this so they know it's fake, because they're getting pumped to these pictures, these images. All of these images are complete bullshit. It's absolute lies. It's completely fake and fabricated. They didn't find anything like this whatsoever in any of the scans. You need to look at the study of 2022, look at the actual scans. They don't show any of this. There's no 5 temples. That was not in the scan. None of these blue cylinders, they were not in the scans. There's no stairways going down in the scans. The boxes that they claim that the blue cylinders are on, that's not in the scans either. It's 100% lies, folks. The whole thing is a total fraud. What do you think of this?
Well, I believe them. I believe them, Thomas. So
just more distractions.
That's why you got suspended for exposing the secret underground bases underneath the pyramids.
It might be, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, moving on here. Yeah, the censorship on the interwebs is still very real. I hope we can stay good in YouTube graces. Good news here on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. The Pope Francis, who's been hospitalized, we've been reporting on it. He's 88 years old. He's had dual pneumonia. It's being reported now by Vatican News that his health is improving. So bless the Pope and his bout with pneumonia. The doctors have not yet given any indication regarding his discharge from the hospital, but the Pope's condition remains stable. So there you go. There's your Pope news. He hasn't passed yet. I think you would find this one interesting, Thomas. I guess we got to be. I guess we're in our public health section now. We got a little bit of time. Okay, I found this very interesting. What about pharmacological crops? Who's reporting this? Neoscope reported this. Students concoct ingenious scheme to grow Ozempic at home. We have Ozempic at home. And they say in a press release from the University of Ottawa, it was revealed that some of its undergraduate students have invented a process that they're calling phytogene, turn tobacco cousin plant into a pharmacological factory for the popular weight loss drug Ozempic. What do you think of this, Thomas?
I haven't looked into it yet, but Ozempic is this is Gila monster venom. I doubt what they're coming up with is that similar to that, but I'll certainly look into it. I think can report back on Tuesday.
They call it biofarming. Biofarming. Well,
maybe they'll get if they come up with anything really poisonous and deadly. I'm sure they'll get funding by Bill Gates's funds, especially since
we're not allowed to criticize it. It's the greatest invention in mankind history.
Especially since he just canceled. He pulled out of climate change because Trump canceled all of his taxpayer rorting. Right? And there, one more reason to get some taxes on Bill Gates after he endlessly rorted all of these climate funds from all of this massive scam. Slush money that was created, and all of the print, and of course, now he's going to focus on the depopulation interventions, right? And Futurism just came out with a couple articles. Of course, Futurism was one of the the best publications, I would say, out of the technology, the big tech and left-wing tech industry. It was all like every issue was 60 to 80 new technological innovations. They're reporting on this every issue. And now it's only like 6 to 8 articles attacking Musk and attacking Trump. I mean, they've been taken over by Soros or something like that. I don't know what has happened there, but they put in a new editor who's one of these BLM, LGBTQ, whatever X kind of people. And it's just hate Elon every single day. And they put, society, one article on top of the other, their main point. Society's becoming much more dumb recently. Those cancer vaccines are starting to look really good. So, and I mean, it's Silicon Valley sarcasm. We all know what that means, right? It's getting a lot dumber. We need to roll out those miracles, right? I mean, it's very clear what that implies and what the communication is intending there. So that's from futurism. So the future, according to futurism, is the depopulation agenda, and they want it.
Let me read a little bit more from this press release. Pytogene utilizes the tobacco cousin plant, nicotina, to produce medications such as glycagon-like peptide 1, GL1 receptor, a class of drugs that include the popular type 2 diabetes turned weight loss drug Ozempic. This innovative approach could significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and chemical waste associated with traditional pharmaceutical manufacturing methods. Weezy, would you take some medicine that they engineered like this through a plant? It's all organic.
It sounds appetizing, but I'm gonna have to pass.
Here's some.
Come on, how can you pass on? How can you question Fauci? Fauci made the GLP. He's got the patent.
This is not Fauci. This is Canadian. Canadian
Fauci.
Yeah.
Here's some amazing news. How I guess you'll be banned for criticizing them. They had a big role in the opiate epidemic. They had a big role in the miracle epidemic. But Johnson & Johnson has announced today $55 billion investment. How they're even operating anymore is beyond me, but they're saving us. Oh yeah, and they do put the forever chemicals in their Band-Aids, luckily enough for us. And it just goes on and on and on with their assault on public health, but they're the good guys and they should be praised. With a $55 billion investment in the United States announced today over the next 4 years. So thank you very much, Johnson & Johnson. Investment to expand U.S. manufacturing, all for the good. They're the good guys. Any criticism of them will be banned, as we have seen. So, and the conservative MAGAs are cheering it on. The MAGAs are cheering this move on. As
Trump said at the rally, they got more cash than anybody. Really good guy. Here's his amazing wife.
I remember when they got booed. The CEO got booed.
Yeah.
The last story here in the public health section. I found this interesting, the way that it all tied together when we were talking about all the coincidences. Maya McIntosh, 33 years old, was convicted of manufacturing, distributing, and possession with intent to distribute a synthetic cannabinoid called MBMB-4EN-PINACA. She was charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of New York. She was accused of using the synthetic cannabinoid to soak it in paper and then mail it into prison. And so allegedly she was smuggling this contraband into prison, charged there in New York, drug-soaked papers. What do you guys think of that? I didn't even know such a thing exists. Apparently, synthetic cannabis exists, and they're soaking papers and trying to smuggle it into prison that way. What do you guys think of that?
It's innovative.
Yeah, ingenuity at its finest.
I just soak, it's like LSD papers or whatever. They just soak the paper with a certain chemical, some pages or whatever, and smuggle drugs in.
She's facing a maximum of 20 years in prison. So they're throwing the book at her. Not something to play with, I would say.
I wish we weren't talking about it. I really don't want to educate criminals how to do crime.
Okay, continuing here. What else do we got? We got okay, onto the geopolitics. This is a very sad story. Female minister for children resigns in disgrace after admitting boy 15 years old got her pregnant. Iceland's minister for children, a woman, has resigned in disgrace. She was accused of having sex with a 15-year-old boy when she was 22 and getting pregnant by him. Here she is. Seems there's plenty of degenerates in governments all around the world here. She was 22, he was 15. And now it's come out. The minister of children there in Iceland has been forced to resign in shame.
Sheesh. I think I was expecting a better product.
Okay, that was a little geopolitical because it was from Iceland, but now on to are we going to get a Ukraine-Russia ceasefire? Let's hear from Trump today. He says we are going to have a full ceasefire in Ukraine very soon. Let's hear from Trump. Stop killing people over there. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think we have a ceasefire on a lot of areas, and so far that's all held very well. And getting that ceasefire, they had a lot of guns pointing at each other. You had some soldiers, unfortunately, surrounded by other soldiers, and they are going to be, I believe we're going to pretty soon have a full ceasefire, and then we're going to have a contract. And the contract's being negotiated, the contract in terms of dividing up the lands, et cetera, it's being negotiated as we speak.
Now, the thing I noticed right there is that spray tan on the face is on point. If you look at his hands and his face, two very different hues.
He's trolling the leftists again. You got to get that orange man bad leftist.
Yeah, look at that. Look at those hands and his face.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Also, as you saw in the breaking news from Sky News, their Heathrow shut down. There was an alleged something went on at Heathrow. They're saying maybe a terrorist attack. I saw some reports blaming Russia for it. Who knows? Are we going to get a ceasefire there in Russia-Ukraine war? What do you guys think?
Oh, man. My thoughts on the Russia-Ukraine is that I do question how much of it is actually real. I'm not questioning people are dying there. I fully believe people are dying in the droves on both sides. My questioning comes from how real is this war? Is this another, manufactured stuff? And what led me to start questioning it is how Russia, along with China and all these people that are these countries that are supposedly and allegedly our enemies, the way they treated what happened in 2020. Everyone fell in lockstep, even our arch enemies like Russia and China. So I do wonder how much of what's going on in Russia and this thing about ceasefires that it's been dragging on for years and years and years. If Russia really wanted to, they would have gone in there in just a couple of weeks and laid everything out. But it's been dragging on and on and on. So I mean, all this stuff about ceasefires and going on, and I think it's more wordplay.
War's a racket.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Smedley
Since-
Butler.
Since we've had over 400 conspiracy theories all come true, right? They were just, they're all factual and being exposed. I am postulating a new one since we're out of them, that all of these videos are seeing of Zelensky's goons dragging these grown men supposedly to the front lines. I'm postulating the conspiracy theory that he's just executing these people, dragging them and just murdering them. These are your Christians and maybe your, anti-Zelensky people on social media, your ethnic Russians that they're hunting down and this kind of stuff, and just executing them and just lying that they're on the front lines and they just bury them along with the others or whatever. We've seen this, of course, before. This is a ruthless lie. I mean, he'll lie about anything, this guy. Putin went into Kiev, had this massive tank column all the way to the doorstep there in Kiev, and signed the agreement with Zelensky. And it was supposed to be over. And had Zelensky signed that Russia's going to have these 4 territories, the 3 Donbass regions, and then the Crimea, that wanted to go join with their ethnic Russia and seceded democratically, voted for and seceded from the Ukraine, went back, joined with Russia, and Zelensky agreed. And then, so what did Putin do? He moves the troops back into Russia. He doesn't do what all of these aardvarks like Keir Starmer are lying through their teeth that he's going to do, lying that he's going to come take over the rest of Europe and all of this complete bullshit. He literally took all of the troops, all the tanks, everything, went back to the Donbass territories, left the Ukraine completely, and then Zelensky went back against his word, and now he's going back against his word again on this supposed ceasefire. He's now fired long-range missiles into Russia, and he stated that there will be no ceasefire and there will be no peace until those 4 democratically elected to go with Russia regions are handed over to the Ukraine. Right, for them to continue the genocide.
That's the point of contention right now. Yeah.
So it's not going to stop, and Europe they want to escalate. Keir Starmer demands to escalate.
Europe
Germany
definitely wants to escalate.
And you're going to have capital control soon, like I've been saying here. Tomorrow's news today, and you better short the euro. It's the unprecedented time to short the European stock markets, short the Europe 600 index, short all 4 major and the others. The European stock markets, they're at record highs right now. Short the euro, which has gone up a lot versus the dollar recently. It's a fantastic free money opportunity if you're in the markets right now. If you have any Europe exposure, sell, get the hell out, cash out on the high, and you won't be sorry in the future. These people they're going to run their entire economy into the ground, and now they're going to suck $800 billion a year out and spend it on bombs and guns and just blow it up in the fields. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Trump today announced the 6th generation fighter jet F-47. Let's hear this from our friends at Boeing, who have had a lot of problems over the last couple of years. Let's hear from Trump announcing the new 6th generation fighter jet. That's what we really need.
Today, that is very exciting, and I'm thrilled to announce that at my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first 6th generation fighter jet. Number 6, 6th generation. Nothing in the world comes even close to it, and it'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title, and it's a beautiful number, F-47. It's something the likes of which nobody has seen before in terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet. There's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload. And this has been in the works for a long period of time. After a rigorous and thorough competition between some of America's top aerospace companies, the Air Force is going to be awarding the contract for the next generation air dominance platform to Boeing. As you know, it was highly competed for. There was a lot of competition, generals, and it's been going on for a long time. Very, very tough competition, but this plane.
Trump is anti-establishment. That's why he is awarding Boeing giant contracts. Don't you see? The military-industrial complex is afraid of Trump. I see there Misty in the chat says that he's even oranger on this video. Maybe old Fox News put a orange filter on him to increase the triggering that of those that are triggered by Orange Man Bad. What do you guys think? Isn't this proof that Trump's anti-establishment by awarding Boeing this giant contract?
The F-47, the greatest plane we've ever seen.
He uses the same words over and over.
Everything's awesome, man. It always is. The F-35 still doesn't work, and they spend I don't know how many billions on that plane, the greatest plane ever, and that thing still doesn't work correctly. But now we moved on to the F-47. So
we got all of the doors and the wheels and everything falling off all the the other Boeing planes. So hey, let's give them the most important military contract in history. Let's reward them for their incredible recent record and their recent performance. Let's pile on the most important military aircraft onto them, not anybody else. Forget about competition, right?
Well, there was vigorous competition. He told us. Okay, this is what. Let me cover this quickly. This is what Simon and I, when he was on the show, covered in depth. The new world order from the Chinese perspective. Here is audio of little Marco telling us about how he thinks the 21st century is going to go. Let's hear from little Marco Rubio, U.S. Secretary of State now, about where we're going with China leading the world here now in the new world order.
I think the story of the 21st century is going to be about what happened between the U.S. and China. I think I said this during my confirmation hearing. I think the Chinese believe that they are on a path towards becoming the most powerful nation on earth, that it's inevitable, it's just a matter of time. And they seek to manage that rise in a way that and avoid disruptions along the way if possible. And look, if in fact they end up out-competing us, out-innovating us, outworking us, what have you, that's one thing. But for us to sort of unilaterally allow them to do that rise while not playing by the same rules, then that would be on us. I think that's what's happened for the better part of 20 years. There was this assumption that some made that we should allow China to continue to cheat in rules of trade and commerce and intellectual property and that kind of thing. And if we let them do it, that eventually they'd become rich, and when they became rich, they'd become just like us. Well, that's not what happened. They became rich, but they're not just like us. So I would say they're a rich and powerful country. They're going to be a rich and powerful country. We need to engage with them because it's irresponsible not to. But we also don't want to live in a world where we depend on China.
China.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we depend on China?
We don't need to. There's 300 countries. It seems a little bit ridiculous to have everything over there when they certainly have animosity towards America, and they charge these insane tariffs. They don't let American companies really own anything over there. And it's just a money, their slogan about all of this is money in, never money out. That's their slogan when it comes to this business. It's an incredibly corrupt society. President Xi has said that countless times on their media, that it's suffering, the whole country suffering from a massive spiritual void. I don't see why we shouldn't be funding everything to these Roman Catholic, Latin, and Christian countries that have much more of the similar values to America than China has, and than China ever will. That has never made sense to me. I don't understand that. But of course, the aardvarks and their big money and the central banking money and them propping up Mao and then doing all of these dirty there with this slave wages. that began that, and then it just continued with the aardvark investment bankers and the private equity and the Congress, and then sending this all over there because you have the aardvark communist regime over there. So that occurred. It needs to really be reset. And we should have an American Belt and Road initiative through all of Latin America, helping these countries to develop and investing. It could be, and that's what the sovereign wealth funds should be doing. That China is they've never played fair, and it just continues.
I saw the idea floated this
They're
week that we should go ahead and invade Panama and just take over the canal.
Well, that was done before. I mean, Bill Barr did that. It just went in there and took out Noriega in a completely illegal war, and he signed the documents for Bush 1 to do that and go in unilaterally without any congressional approval, nothing. Just go and do it, go and take it. And that's what they did. So did it before, do it again, I guess, right? And then Hillary Clinton will be on TV laughing. We
saw he died.
Weezy, should we be dependent on China? What do you think?
I'm of the mindset of like a 1984 situation where you constantly have these make-believe enemies. We're made to believe that China's a big fat enemy of ours, and we criticize their human rights abuses and all these things going on. We criticize their surveillance state. Meanwhile, our damn government is turning into a giant surveillance
state. It's for our safety here, though. It's for our safety.
I mean, they're lockstep with everything that the Chinese are doing, and so our government says one thing that, oh yeah, China, they're terrible, blah blah blah. But what they're doing, they're emulating everything that their government is doing. It makes no sense.
Let's hear a clip from Trump about China.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense because you have the aardvarks of America, the Rockefellers and Rothschilds that brought Jewish Bolshevik communism into China. That's not a Chinese institution. They brought it in there. They funded and armed and propped up Mao. So that's why you see that in there. And that's why you see Wuhan, this partnership directly with the military, which there's always been a partnership with these people in the military in China. They created Mao's military. They funded and financed Mao's military, as most people didn't realize that or study that or learn that. So it's been this unholy alliance continuously, and that's why we see this copy. America-China is just China is, because they're manufacturing all of these things, the security cameras and all of this, they've just gone full speed with it much quicker than in America, and there's no rule of law in the Bolshevik communism that they have over there, so they get away with it, where America, there's a little bit more concern for privacy.
If we can keep that threat of China out there, unlimited funding for Boeing and everybody else in the military-industrial complex. Let's hear from Trump about it quickly and check his orange tan here.
I don't want to show it to anybody. You're talking about a potential war with China. Now, I deal with these people all the time, and I'm dealing with Pete. I'm dealing with these gentlemen on numerous different airplane purchases, and I think they're all going to be great. But I don't want other people anybody seeing potential war with China. We don't want to have a potential war with China, but I can tell you if we did, we're very well equipped to handle it. But I don't want to show that to anybody. But certainly you wouldn't show it to a businessman who is helping us so much. He's a great patriot. He's paying a big price for helping us cut costs, and he's doing a great job. He's finding tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse. But I certainly wouldn't want, Elon has businesses in China, and he would be susceptible perhaps to that. But it was such a fake story. The New York Times is just as fake as CNN and MSDNC. And anybody read that story, people laughed at that story. Who would do such a thing? And the first thing I did is I called Susie and I called Pete. I said, is there any truth to that? And they said, it's ridiculous.
You got to give it to him. He is a character. He cracks me up all the time.
He is a lot more entertaining than Biden ever was, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's talking about the story, I can't even remember now, something about the Pentagon shared inside secrets, war secrets with Elon Musk about China, something like this. It came out of the New York Times, but it wouldn't be secret if they knew about it and published it in the New York Times. But anyway, okay, we're bombing the hell out of Yemen. That is, we, as in the United States, our government is bombing the hell out of the Houthis in Yemen. We have been under Biden, and now we're doing it under Trump. U.S. CENTCOM just put out this post on the X, war propaganda, essentially saying Red Rippers don't sleep, hashtag Houthis are terrorists. Let's watch this clip from U.S. CENTCOM posted yesterday. So it's ongoing bombing missions in Yemen here now with no... Where's all of the MAGA conservatives? I thought we were big time constitutionalists and you were supposed to declare war through Congress, but yet Trump just makes an order and we're bombing the hell out of Yemen now. Well, they weren't even that, they weren't up in arms when Biden did it either, or any president for that matter. What do you guys think?
Are you talking about, Sam? He's the most anti-war president ever. What are you talking about?
And where are all the leftists and the leftist media to say anything about it? They're not complaining. They're not criticizing Trump for doing this.
No,
Aardvark media, they're not going to say anything about it.
And who are the Houthis? Really against?
They said you guys stop your siege of starvation, and we'll stop shooting rockets at your ships. It's pretty simple. Yeah. And they just can't seem to find the will to stop the blockade there in Aardvark land. It's being reported now Hamas studies U.S. bridge. There's been a truce allegedly proposed by the United States for another ceasefire that can't be because it's a real estate redevelopment project, as we continue to report here. But the old, who is it? Reuters is telling us Hamas said on Friday it was reviewing a U.S. proposal to restore the Gaza ceasefire as Aardvark land intensified a military onslaught to press the Palestinian militant group to free the remaining hostages. And the plan is called, quote, Bridge. It was presented last week by Steve Witkoff, special U.S. envoy to Aardvark land. The bridge plan aims to extend the ceasefire to April beyond the holidays of Ramadan and Passover to allow time for negotiations on a permanent end of hostilities there. I just honestly don't believe any of it. It's not going to happen because, as we continue to report here, the genocide is a planned real estate redevelopment plan, and they need those people off that land to go ahead and develop the oil and natural gas they found there and redevelop the real estate there as well. What do you guys think? Can a ceasefire ever stick there, or will they continue until all of the Palestinians are dead?
Yeah, they need that real estate. You know, they're going to build a Trump casino down there.
The most beautifulest casino you'll ever see.
They've already got the development plans, man. And I'm making light of it, but it's really messed up.
It's horrific. It's horrific. Genocide. It is literal genocide, ethnic cleansing.
Ethnic cleansing, everything. You know, and then the repercussions, or, you know, what happens with this. Now you have people flooding other countries, and now other people are like, oh, I can't stand these third worlders in our country. Well, quit bombing the crap out of them. Quit making them You're forcing them out of their damn land, and now you're complaining that they're at your doorstep. You know, you should be up in arms with your government. Tell your government to stop it. Knock it off.
Egypt may take them here. Now, Aardvark Post tells us Egypt willing to temporarily absorb 500,000. That's 500,000. That's a lot of freaking people. Evacuated Gazans. Lebanese report. According to a report, the Gazans would be allocated a city in the North Sinai Peninsula as their own little refugee camp there. So I guess that's better than dying, but
how different is it? I mean, I've thought about this for a while now. It's like the modern day version of when they were pushing natives, you know, just stay west of the Mississippi. You'll be all right. You know what? Keep going west. Keep going west. You just keep shoving them out. And whenever I thought about those times, like, how the hell did people have a good conscience? And now that we're seeing this in real time in 2025, I'm like, damn, people just don't change, man. Some people can put the blinders on to these tragic things going on and pretend it's not happening and pretend it's a righteous war, that they are the victims in all this. It's a freaking joke.
There's a bunch of...
Yeah, it's going to be another 15 years now. Another 15 years of bombing in Yemen. It's never going to end. I mean, they've done it before, again, and then stop, again, and then stop. But this time, you know, why are they going to stop? I mean, they're going to continue. Yemen is built up a little bit. I think we're going to see. There's another conspiracy theory that I'm postulating: 15 years of continuous assault, military assault on Yemen.
Well, the Christian Zionists believe that allowing all this to happen and fulfilling their fake prophecy to build the third temple there and bring about the Armageddon, they're literally praying for this to be happening exactly what is happening. They want the end of the world. Religious fanatics are extremely dangerous, especially the Christian Zionists here in America, that not only turn a blind eye, they cheer it on.
And for the leftists, Orange Man bad, it's all Orange Man's fault. It's definitely not the fault of any of those like 60% aardvarks into Congress or by Joe Crimen's administration of like 99% aardvarks or aardvark spouses. Definitely not their fault that we're bombing the hell out of 8 Muslim countries. It's only the fault of the rhinos, right?
Aren't they just using the quote hostages as a prop? Because do they really care about hostages? This story says IDF to seize Gaza territory if hostages not free. Aardvark's defense minister, Aardvark Katz, has announced that the IDF will seize additional territory in Gaza as long as Hamas continues to refuse the release of the hostages. I've been saying for a while, I think Hamas is Western intelligence, honestly, at least run by Western intelligence. This whole thing is just BS, man.
It's not even a conspiracy theory. It's a proven fact that the Hamas has been funded by the Israeli government and regime. And so,
in the UK and the United States, yeah.
Yeah, October 7, for me, in my opinion, is one of these other questionable events. People flying in with these, helicopter seats.
No, they 100% knew ahead of time. They stood down. That's been well established already.
Yeah.
And they carried out the Hannibal doctrine as well, shooting people at that event from helicopters and then blaming it on Hamas. And it's come out through the Hannibal doctrine that they don't allow hostages to be taken, so they just kill them themselves.
Yeah.
Have you managed, Wheezy, to find any of the hostage takers under any of those powdered buildings? Have you managed to see any of them? I can't seem to find any of these hostage takers under those buildings that they dropped the 2,000-pound bombs on. In this, in the concentration camp, the tiny completely surrounded, completely fenced in concentration camp, but we're all to believe that they have hostages in there and they can't find them. They somehow can't find them after they found every single, representative of Hamas and bombed the shit out of them, blew them up with these explosive pagers. They've got no problem getting explosive pagers to every member of Hamas and blowing them all up, but they can't possibly find the hostages and the hostage takers after they've just completely eradicated the entire place. Yeah, if anybody believes that, I've got a couple bridges to sell you, not one, but at least two.
Yeah, another fake and rainbow situation, if you ask me, and unfortunately, at the cost of many women and children getting blown up to smithereens, their homelands turning into rubble, and the thing is, I think these events that people are seeing is now waking up a lot of people. A lot of people that fell for the victim mentality in the past are now having second thoughts. Like, man, this is not right. What we are seeing, and seeing the lack of the spinelessness of these quote unquote elected politicians and officials that are supposed to represent us and how we feel, completely turning a blind eye to it and all caving, to what our royal family in the Middle East dictates.
Yeah, and they're all cheering for it, literally cheering for it. To get their big contracts in Congress. There's almost not a single Republican that's against it. Thomas Massey, and now they want to get rid of Massey because he's not Zionist enough.
Yeah, the APAC money, when you see the APAC money tracker, it is insane. Anyone wants to chalk it up, oh, that's just conjecture. Oh, you just have a bias. Look at the APAC tracker money. And that, I mean, how can you even put up a good argument against that?
And where have the liberals gone? They don't want to expose that. They don't want to talk about that. I mean, where the hell the liberals are just played like they've never been played before. They're not even liberals anymore. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, that's the thing. The whole left right. Yeah, it's I had James Corbett on a few weeks back, and we were talking about how this whole left right thing is perhaps the greatest psyop ever pulled. Because the pendulum is always swinging, and what one side may be on the correct quote unquote side of history, because they cling on to that side when the pendulum swings again. Now they're on the wrong side and they continue to cheer on for the wrong team. And it's just constantly back and forth. When you go back to the 9/11 days, a lot of the lefties were the ones that were against the war in Iraq. And it was the conservative Christians for George Bush's invasion of Iraq. And then the pendulum swung the other way. And now it's swinging. It looks like it's swinging, it's going the other way now, with the MAGA psyop that got pulled, with a lot of these people thinking Trump was going to be the one to change. And in 2008, we had the similar situation with Obama. We saw similar parallels. A lot of the people that had voted Republican all their lives in 2008 said, you know what, I want hope and change. I'm going to cast my vote for Obama. It's going to turn everything. It's going to change everything. And then nothing ever happened. Obama turned out to be a scumbag just like everyone else. And now this time around, you saw a lot of people that voted Democrat their entire lives. But this time I'm going to vote Republican. I'm going to give this guy that almost got his head blown off, I'm going to give him a chance. And it's the same script each and every time.
Well, thankfully, Joni Ernst put out this post on X. It says America stands with the aardvarks. And there you go. There's the APAC tracker.
Yeah.
They blast them. And it just goes on and on and on. Like literally every single one of these politicians has big aardvark money.
$500,000. Sheesh.
Yeah, well, we stand with them. Thank you very much. She'll never go fight and die in these wars, but she will definitely send your sons and daughters to go fight and die in there. And think of this. We're 25 years removed from 9/11 now, and we're still fighting the freaking war on terror. And all of these terror organizations are made by Western intelligence agencies, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Al Qaeda, Hamas, go down the list, all the ISIS, all the different, and all their different spin-off groups and variations of it, run by Western intelligence that radicalizes the Muslims, and then to go off and to go set up and get killed, and everybody else in between. It's just, oh man, it's all so tiring at this
But
point.
that's going to be anti-Semitic next if you say America
To
first.
criticize Western intelligence, probably,
Yeah.
probably.
I mean, it kind of is already. You bring up Epstein. Oh, that's anti-Semitic. I'm just talking about Epstein. What why are you feeling guilty about me talking about Epstein? But nope, can't go there. That's anti-Semitic. Yeah, that's where we're heading at, unfortunately.
No, that's why we're speaking code words here to not run afoul of the aardvarks in charge here. It appears. I don't know. APAC. Everybody could just go to. It's public. It's not even. And I'm not even mad at them. I'm like, they're all public about it. You should just go to their X account here, and you can see them bragging all day about how they're paying off our politicians. I mean, here it is right here. Go to their X, and you can see they're under attack right now, allegedly. They got the Iron Dome, so that should be no problem for them. Who did they have here? Look, old Fetterman. And it just goes on and on and on with all the politicians. All day they're posting this on the official APAC X account.
Yeah, he's happy to get that check, man. He's really happy about that. They give that guy a bigger check than he's ever got before. Social credit score. My social credit score on X was 38. I'll have to check it again. See what Grok says now after the recent shadow banning attack that they put me under. I'll have to see if you can go lower than 38, right? The new low. I haven't seen anybody report less than. There was one guy. Actually, I asked Grok, what is the lowest account on X? And Grok said 28. Yeah, 20. There's a score possible of 28. So I wasn't there yet. So I'm working on getting me a 28, guys. We'll see if it happens.
That's all we got for today. Let's go see the channels quickly. Most of the chat came over here now that they've integrated Rumble on the Rockfin. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube. Hopefully we didn't run afoul of the censors there. Thank you guys for tuning in on the old Odyssey. I see Bob and Barry on the Odyssey. Other people, but no one in the chat but you guys. Thank you guys. It looks like Barry's back. Thankfully, Barry, for joining us. Thank you we're blessed to have Barry back, and I hope you have recovered from your illness there, Barry. We were praying for you to recover. Barry said his social credit score dropped 12 points. Jeez. I think mine's in the negative. Thank you guys for tuning in on the BitChute. I don't know what's up with there's never a chat on BitChute. I guess they don't like chatting there or something. It says we have viewers on this live stream, so shout out to you guys tuning in on the BitChute. The chat is very lively on the Rumble, so if you guys are interested in that interaction, I would recommend Weaponized News Rumble channel. There's quite a lively chat going on there. Thank you guys, the regular viewers, for tuning in and keeping the chat live. It's truly appreciated. Thank you for tuning in on the Rumble, the Facebook. I don't know. It's on again, off again on Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Facebook. And X, thank you guys for tuning in on the X. I did see a few comments there come through on the X. Thank you guys. Yeah, they're blaming the flat earthers. Any word blames flat earthers. Man, might as well. Blame
Shout out to
somebody.
Any Word. That's a good man.
Yeah, that's all I got. Final thoughts there, Wheezy, before we wrap this up.
I want to shout out some of my followers came down to the stream. Good to see some of the familiar faces. And shout out to everyone that made it to the stream. Always a fun time. Makes the conversations interactive. Motivates me and gives me fuel, and I'm sure it does. For you Thomas and Sam, and thanks for inviting me. This was super fun, and I need to get you on my show sometime as well.
All right, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can definitely do that. Nice to meet you, Easy, and welcome to Weaponized News, where we question absolutely everything, turn every rock. We don't make any hard judgments like these other media do. We do a lot of investigating. We try to get to the bottom of everything, and it is your government has been lying to you about pretty much everything. It's just so outrageous. I never, when I was growing up, I never could have believed it could ever be possible that there could be this scale of corruption, and it just keeps getting more outrageous and more outrageous and more outrageous. I mean, it's
and
so
still
shocking.
no one gets in trouble, and still no one ever gets in trouble.
Yeah, anybody that goes to prison is the low-hanging fruit, and it's very clear there's another set of rules and protections for these people at the security clearance level, and then the congressmen underneath that even. I mean, it's so crazy, and they have this regime to protect, what's going on with Hunter Biden is 459 felonies, child pornography.
He got a pardon. He's cool.
Right, pardons in advance, right, for Fauci and everybody else. So thank God Trump is getting rid of those. But what's going to happen there? Hopefully, we'll see some serious action. But welcome to the show, Wheezy, and thank you for all you're doing to try to wake people up as well on behalf of humanity.
Thank you, guys.
All right, as always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Have a great Friday evening and start your weekend. We're going to play out here with Scott Armstrong. Again, he gave us full permission to use his songs, Scott Armstrong from Universal Basic Awesome. And this is the Hood Rap Boogie as we play our way through his album there. So Scott Armstrong playing us out. Go take a look. A lot of people are liking some of his songs. A few are very, very edgy. I guess you can say some of the things he does in music form on the YouTube. But anyway, well worth checking out. Scott Armstrong, Universal Basic Awesome. Again, to remind everybody, all the links to everything we talk about will be on Weaponized News Substack. And so if there's any issue that we talked about that you want to dig in deeper, go to Weaponized News Substack, and there'll be a link there to start your research. Here is Scott Armstrong playing us out. Thank you, Wheezy, for joining us on this Friday. Thank you, Thomas. And we'll see you back here on Monday on Weaponized News.
2, 3, 4. Met her on 14th Main, still had most her teeth and veins. When she sweats, she smells like methane. Baby days, got hold of breath. She thinks my name is all believe. Her figure's always bad with I can't read. She's trying to tell me that she's not a fiend, but I was with her at the deli on the slot machine. But she's so damn fine and so free, and I stole my heart in my new backseat. Trying to sell me a Mac, but they said, well, please, it's a leapfrog toy with no batteries. Ooh. hours late, I just tell myself that it's worth the wait. Cradles through drawers, everything I own. Always try to plug in and charge your goddamn phone. Rides her bike everywhere she goes. Got an old backpack, it's got all of those. Pockets in the single, trying to fix it seems. Gotta check her backpack before she leaves. But she's so damn fine, and she's such a freak. And he'll stole my heart in my car last week. Dumps out a person when she starts to flail. Always picking her up at the county jail. Hug it! Drop that shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tried to sell me food stamps, cash half price. Never see her riding the same bike twice. Needs my Wi-Fi password all the time. Keep catching picking out of the window blinds. But she lives her life with no regrets. Always got a pack of half-smoked cigarettes. Now I'm sitting in the yard cause I got no light. She took all my light bulbs in the pipes. But she's so damn fine, I just can't say no. You know, stole my heart and my stereo. If this ain't love, I don't know what you call it. Don't even care that you stole my wallet. And I think she's here to